Welcome to the Orange Power Podcast with Oklahoma State Cowboys football head coach Mike Gundy. Robert Allen filling in for Dave Hunziker, who's got a little basketball action going on. And, Coach, something you and I talked about in another conversation. You got 2 games left, Texas Tech, Colorado, and then with no bowl game, your group won't be taking off a lot of time in December. It speeds up. You've got signing day December 4th. The portal window opens December 9th. There's a lot of X factor about your team you don't know, and there's, by chance, your staff is going to have to really put together a football roster in the month of December.
Much different than it's ever been before, and as we learn during these new times, we've tried to put plans in place for any scenario that we could be faced with, but we don't know what it may be. For example, in the first part of December, we're going to sign an incoming class of 10, 12, 13, 14 players, somewhere in that area. Minimum 10, hopefully, and then not more than 15. At that point, we'll be faced with the portal, and we'll have to rally in the portal based on what happens with our current players. And nobody knows. We've done this now for, 3 years? And you can't predict, because we get surprised every year by players that we think might go in that don't, and then players that we're 100% sure they're not going in, and they do. So we have to rally. I'm guessing 10 to 12 players that we'll bring in from around the country in the portal, but if we were to have more players than what we would expect go in it, then that number would go up. Because you have to balance that number. We're trying to ultimately get to the 105. It's extremely difficult for us because, as you know, we've got 10, 12, 14 players that are on NIL scholarships right now. So we don't even get those scholarships back, much less that we have 142 players on our team. We have to be at 105 by, I think, June. I don't know that she's ever said that. But I think one thing that's interesting to clarify for the public is you could keep 140 players all the way up till June, but why would you want to keep those players and then them go through spring ball and then be on your roster when we start June and they can't be on your roster? Why would they want to do it?
No, and they would need to land somewhere.
So there'll be dramatic changes in the month of December in a lot of areas that are going to be really difficult, as you had mentioned off the air with Matt Rule.
Yeah.
And how he became emotional talking about it. I've been emotional about it for 6 months. That the young men that we have on our team, that I have always said it to our staff, and I've said it publicly, don't mess with my walk-ons, selfishly. And I don't use me and I and or I and my, but don't mess with my walk-ons. They're guys that love football. They love Oklahoma State. They want to be on a team, and they do it for free. Now, we give them a little NIL money now, but they're busting their butt for free. And a large percentage of them we're going to have to let go based on a federal judge and this settlement being mandated. We don't have any choice. I don't make the rules. So I'm not looking forward to it. And but as we work our way through this, based on what happens in the portal, the players we sign, how things get adjusted, and like you said, and I'll clarify that it's not fair to keep young men on your roster that you're not going to keep past June. If they still want to play football, they need to go somewhere and play ball. And if they're going to do it, they got to do it in December. Now, I know there's another portal window in April, but not near the movement.
You have a lot of friends in coaching. You've always said there's great coaches at every level,
Sure.
high school, so forth. If you're a coach at the FCS level or Division II, you're about to get a dynamo because with a limit of 105, there's a lot of talented guys that are going to drop.
They're all going to work their way down, and the really scary side of it is the high school classes from this year, but really the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So, my youngest son came out a couple of years ago, and that class didn't get recruited like they should have because of the portal.
Right.
You're really going to see a huge impact the next signing class and the next one, because you're still filtering down approximately 25 to 30 guys per team across the country, times all the teams in the country.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, and yeah, the walk-on which has got a glorious past in college football across the board. We're talking the Rudies, we're talking the young man at Arkansas that they have the award for, top walk-on in the country. It's really kind of sad.
Well, I think about Gunner.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what these young men are going to be going through. And so it's going to be difficult. The only bright side of it is, like you and I talked about off the air, once we get to June, July of next year, this is going to become routine. This is going to become essentially a budgetary issue where you'll know how much money you have to give to the players. You'll know what your roster sizes are. I'm hoping at that point we'll have some type of contract to create some stability and equality across the country. That has not been talked about, but we need those things in order to keep college football at the level it needs to be from a viewership standpoint.
No doubt. Texas Tech coming up this week, senior day. Mm-hmm. Quick thought on that.
Yeah, 26 guys that have meant a lot to the organization, just like what we're talking about. And we're going to miss them, guys that have won a lot of games. I know it's been a tough year this year, but I don't feel any differently about this group than I did the last 19 of them. And the fact that they were committed to the Cowboy culture, we've talked about it. When you interview our players, they'll still talk about the Cowboy culture. They'll still talk about guys like Brennan Presley and Cole Birmingham, and that want to be humble and want to go out and live the rest of their life.
Jake Springfield, former walk-on that
Jake
was
Springfield,
elevated.
He's a walk-on. And then in the new system, Jake Springfield doesn't get a chance. He's a 4-year starter.
Exactly.
5-year starter, however many years he's been here. So, but with those seniors and then Tech, the quarterback's playing good, in my opinion, in the last month. The running back's always dangerous. Where they've improved, Roberts, defensively, they're running to the ball. DeRuiter, the coordinator's got them running to the ball. They're tackling. They're making plays. They're multiple on defense. I like the improvements they've made. So, but I like our practice from the last couple of weeks with our team. They've been energetic. They've been interested in learning, studying tape, and fully expect them to play hard.
You want to win these games, and I'd love the way, and this is a senior day. Everybody wants to win, for those guys especially, but it is also a time to see in spots. We've seen some defensive guys, young guys come in. So how do you weigh that?
Well, we've got a bunch of young guys that are playing now, some due to injury, some due to just getting guys work. But I said this to the team for 2 weeks. I said it in the media, is the most important thing is finding a way to win this game. Every game matters, and it's important to find a way, get guys to play at the highest level they can to try to win this football game.
All right, so that's the head coach, Mike Gundy. We've looked at a little tape. We've got ready for Senior Day and Texas Tech here on the Orange Power Podcast.